Hey everyone, and welcome to another edition of Shooting the Breeze. I'm one of your hosts, Matt, and as usual, I'm joined by my co-host Ben. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Doing well.
Good to hear. So we are pre-recording this because this episode will drop on Christmas Eve, but we've got a nice little treat for you. It is the final piece of the Schmoes of the North finally making his debut on this show. It is none other than my friend Daniel Haynes. How you doing, my man?
How's it going?
It's going good. Today's been quite the day.
Yeah?
Well, with all the stuff going on in the world of Schmodown, of course.
Mm. Oh, yeah, just today, the nominations were all announced, and
Yeah.
within the next couple of days, we're going to get some chatter and see kind of who's pushing ahead in these races.
Damn right. It's definitely an exciting time to be a Schmodown fan because this season is probably one of the hardest to predict.
And also,
Absolutely.
much more fun to be a reactor.
Yes, sir. And Daniel and I are reactors over at the Schmoes of the North, so go over and like and subscribe that page, man. Because we've got some good stuff coming up the pike. Just you watch. All right, so the point of the whole crux of the show is we sit here with our friends from around the internet and we let the guest choose the topic. So what is your topic today, Daniel?
Yeah, I wasn't really sure on a topic when you first asked me, and then like within 30 seconds, the like realization hit. Uh, I have like so many board games around that I can just showcase and talk about, and I love hearing people's takes on tabletop gaming, how they got into it, what their type of game is, and so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about.
Okay, well let's just start right off. How did you get into tabletop gaming?
Yeah, I think I first started playing, like everyone else does, like Disney's Sorry, and then, yeah, like Sorry, and then Yahtzee, such and such. But I'm not super into those games. The first game I remember being into was Clue.
Okay.
Yeah, just kind of walking around trying to gain clues from everybody and like once you learn the second stage of the game where you can learn clues without ever asking about them because you deduce what your opponents are doing, it just like unlocked a whole new field of competitiveness in my brain basically.
Yeah, those right off the bat, those are my favorite type of games. The ones that every game, yeah. Oh, excuse me. Every game, the outcome is different.
Mm,
Yeah. So like that one, haunting. Was it Betrayal on the House on the Hill? It's another good
yeah,
one.
because you have
Um,
the multiple different
yeah,
haunts that can happen.
yeah, and then the one that's based on the movie The Thing, where you trying to figure out if who the infected are, who the alien is. That one's fun. I've played that one probably 4 times, and we've never actually won. The alien has won every time.
Mm.
Yeah. So those are my favorite type of games. The ones where it's like you're always thinking, always second guessing.
Mhm.
What
What
about you,
about
Ben?
you, Ben?
I have two. One, they're both classic. They're both. One is Monopoly and the other is chess. I'm not good at chess, but I can be damn good at Monopoly.
Okay, well I can tell you right now, you're better than me at chess. But did you ever see the Oh god, a friend of mine posted on Facebook yesterday, but it said it's a game of Monopoly, but it's like really hard. You circle around the board and then you do like an inside track, and you got to keep doing that.
No.
Oh my
Mm.
god, I saw that. I was like, I think a lot of families will be ended after that one.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and so for my personal favorite, like I liked Clue, but really what I found was it was a lot more deduction than it was like walking around the board and collecting kind of tokens, which I am representing as the clues here, but usually you just take off a piece of paper.
Mhm.
Um, and like it's kind of a tie for me between deduction games, which I have one over here, which is Werewolf.
Ooh.
but it plays in a single night basically.
Okay.
And like there's a telephone app that you can like literally download, and it will game master the game for you, so everybody gets to play.
Nice.
And yeah, that I find is very cool.
What's it
And
called?
my
One Night at Daybreak?
One Night Werewolf. This one's the expansion.
Oh, okay.
And then Legendary, which is one of my favorite all-time games, is like a deck building where you're constantly, and it's based on Marvel, and so you choose 5 heroes that are going to go into your game, and I have about 70 or so heroes at this point with the many expansions I've bought. But you choose 5 only, and then you choose like a villain set and a mastermind who's like a big villain like Loki or Thanos, or I like Mysterio. I'm partial to him because he has a cool effect that mimics himself over and over again, so he takes
nice.
forever to kill.
Yeah, no kidding.
And yeah, so I really like the kind of buying the best available cards from a kind of pool that, and then assembling a deck that you in a deck building game, you reshuffle the deck as you run out of cards, and you're constantly adding to it. So, and then you're trying to get rid of your bad cards in the deck later on, so you can boost the power. And so, like, that really adds a crazy, almost chess-like element to a regular kind of card game, because you're constantly trying to make a well-flowing deck while also trying to play it against the opponents and also the other people at your table.
That does sound like a lot of fun. But like my favorite games growing up, unfortunately, I've been banned from playing is question and answer games like Trivial Pursuit. I'm not allowed to play that anymore.
I've got a great Trivial Pursuit thing. My sister got like a Harry Potter Trivial Pursuit once upon a time, and we were so well versed in the material, as you can see, that we could not play the game because one of us would win on the first turn by answering every single question you need to do to win. And so we ended up playing full card Trivial Pursuit, where you only get the point if you can answer all 6 questions in all 6 categories.
Very nice.
And that made it a little bit more fair for us.
Oh, for sure. My thing was, I'm still unbeaten at Trivial Pursuit Pop Culture. Or, no, I think I might have lost once. But the final straw was all my friends got mad at me, so they all decided to gang up on me. So it was 10 of them and one of me, and I still won. And that was the end of that.
Have you guys ever, I don't know if you guys have it up there, are you seen it?
Oh, of course. I was pretty good at that one, too.
I had the Harry Potter one. I think I had the Seinfeld one. And I had the generic movie one.
Yeah, I've only ever played the generic one.
Yeah, I've definitely played the Harry Potter one. And another aspect is not only do we have the correct answer, we also have the proper book answer because, you know, we're those nerds.
Yeah, you're like the nerd, and you guys. Yeah, no, there's definitely was some good times playing those games, but like I said, nobody wants to play them with me anymore. So that's why I love the Schmoedown, because I can actually exercise that part of my brain.
I have to be honest. I always wanted to play. I never played any like past role playing game. I always wanted to try D&D.
Well, luckily you're talking to 2 D&D players.
And I stuck that back here because I needed to represent like one of the oldest tabletop games that isn't necessarily a board game.
God damn, I had the perfect opportunity to wear my D&D shirt and I didn't take it.
But the problem with me is I can never find anybody to play with. So, what?
I mean, with the day and age we're in now, it's actually a lot easier to play online. Like one of my
Yeah.
campaigns currently is being done online because of the pandemic, and it's actually pretty smooth because we were able to. There's you're familiar with Roll20, right, Daniel?
Mhm.
Did you hear about the expansion, the extension that Google Chrome has?
No,
It's called
honestly, like I've used it twice. I don't enjoy using like the tools. I've tried Battlegrounds, I've tried Roll20, but in those instances, I prefer to just play over like Discord, where you can just stick the headphones on and
yeah.
just like focus on words rather than trying to click all over a map and stuff.
Well, but what we did is like we obviously use the Discord for the audio because the audio on Roll20 sucks. But
Mm,
there's an extension on Google called Beyond 20, which essentially you instead of using like their character builder and all the junk they have on Roll20, it actually connects to your D&D Beyond account, so you're able to use your actual character
mm.
sheet on there, and it works so much smoothly.
Right.
Yeah, but we're thinking because Roll20 was we're thinking actually of using StreamYards here to do it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, in my case, I just go, if I play online, I would much rather just play Theater of the Mind,
Mm,
which requires a little bit more work or less work. You either have to like have a DM who properly configures a whole map and tells you like, oh no, there's no enemy within 60 feet of you this turn,
mm,
or you go the other way and you make some leniencies and you assume that people will move towards targets they will like to hit and move away from targets they don't want to be hit by, right? And so I lean much more on that side too.
yeah.
Is just kind of let it keep flowing and let's stop like not everyone is as good at clicking around and playing with all the either Roll20 or D&D Beyond tools, and
Mm.
so
Oh, the
I'd
D&D
just
Beyond.
rather
Now that I know that there's an extension, trust me, it's a lot easier.
yeah, but I just rather tell my people just like
Yeah.
if you need to, just close your eyes and listen. All of the things you need will be expressed.
We'll have to get you
Enemies
in on the
come
game
from the
sometime, man.
north.
We'll have to get you in on the game sometime. It's 5e, which is the current edition, is actually pretty easy to understand. I
Yeah,
compared to the other ones I've heard.
very user friendly
Yeah.
and pretty easy to teach, especially if you make a character for a new player
Yeah.
is the best way to do it. And then yeah, you could just tell them like they essentially only need the dice and you
Yeah.
can guide them through most things.
Yeah. And luckily, like with D&D Beyond now, they have the online dice and stuff like that. So if you don't have any, you can use
Mm.
that. What type of player, like what type of character do you gravitate towards? So like me, I've been playing long enough now that I gravitate more towards like the barbarian style. I like the fucking knock them down, beat them up
Mm.
characters because damn, they can pack. Like right now, I'm playing a centaur barbarian because they have the hoof attack. If you charge someone within 30 feet, it gives you a bonus attack to hit them with your hoofs, and then I get to hit them with all my actual power.
Mm. I'm currently playing in a campaign a tiefling warlock,
Oh,
and
very nice.
the one you would expect when you hear tiefling warlock. I'm a very bubbly character
Mm-hmm.
who generally likes people, and I want to like protect them, and so I kind of combined like the two uh, bad tropes of D&D characters of like the one that is kind of the shonen anime protagonist sort of
Yeah,
character and the edge lord tiefling warlock devil person sold their soul etc,
nice.
and I took those two concepts and just took out the things that would be annoying about it and tried to make a character that wants to become a hero.
Nice. My favorite character that I've built so far. Unfortunately, he died in combat, which sucked. But I built a half elf ranger, who I called Rohaj because I based him on Captain America from between Civil War and Infinity War. And the name Rohaj is Steve Rogers' name in the Marvel 1602 comic book that Neil Gaiman did when he went back in time and was this like Native American guardian. Yeah,
Mhm.
I was doing so much damage with my arrows and Hunter's Mark and woof.
No, I'm sorry. This is all new to me.
Oh, sorry.
Can you pick any name and any character you want every time you play a new
Well,
game?
yes, you can pick any name, but basic 5e, there's what, 6 races, 6 classes?
I mean, there's a number of others because
Yeah, but I'm talking
just
like
in,
basic, not
yeah,
like add-ons and stuff.
I mean, just in the player's handbook,
Yeah.
you're gonna have multiple types of elf. You have half elf, you have half orc, humans, and a couple of other ones. Your gnome, your dwarf, your halfling.
Yeah. So I brought up
So
because I have all my D&D
maybe
Beyond stuff
8.
available. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 races and 4, 5, 6,
12
7, 8, 9,
classes,
10.
if I'm
Yeah,
not
12
mistaken.
classes. So basically, your classes are, you got your barbarian, which is just like full on kick the shit, my type. You got the bard, which is like half and half. Cleric, which is the healer, right?
Well, clerics are healers, but they're more specifically like anti whatever their god is against. So
Right.
like a fey cleric can turn fey creatures and later destroy them, any ones that would cross their god. And all clerics are good at kicking undead ass.
Yeah. And you've also got the druids, the fighters, which is decent, but it's not bad. A monk is actually
He's
pretty
like your
good too.
traditional warrior.
Yeah.
For a fighter, you would think like Ned Stark is
Yeah, that's
an example of like a champion.
Yeah.
Whereas
You've got
like a barbarian would be Robert Baratheon if we want to get into Game of Thrones.
Yeah, no, that's actually a pretty good analogy on that one. Yeah, you've also got the monks,
Yeah.
which are
Which
pretty
is
damn
your-
good. Like when they hit, they got good stats there. Paladins, which I actually
Also,
haven't played a paladin.
once a monk gets to a certain level, there is not a place on the map they can't reach.
Yeah.
So that becomes pretty cool too.
Yeah, you got the paladin, which like I said I haven't played. The ranger, which is good if you want to play like Legolas, like long range.
Yeah, and
'Cause you've got,
the
like, all these
paladin
spells you
is
can-
interesting because you could be anything from the Night's Watch in Game of Thrones to a Jedi in Star Wars to
Yeah.
like any sort of knight that swears a specific oath and is bound by it, and that gives them strength essentially in the game.
Then you've got your rogue, which I'm trying to think what would
Is
be a
an
good...
assassin, stabby.
Yeah.
Damn.
No, that's pretty much what it is. Yeah, it's very stabby. You've got your sorcerer, which is like, of course, Doctor Strange. Your warlock. What would be a good analogy for a warlock?
The magic classes are best explained together: wizard, warlock, and sorcerer.
Yeah.
A wizard is a person who studies magic and learns it from books. A sorcerer has the magic innately within their own body, and in the case of the wild magic sorcerer, it explodes out of them at random intervals, which is very amusing. And then the warlock bargains for their power. They trade either servitude or allegiance or possibly souls, etc.
Yeah, basically you become a minion to Satan is what it is.
Oh, wow.
Well,
Yeah.
it's interesting because the way it's worded, the bargain is what gives you your power. So after the initial bargain, unless you don't hold up your side of a deal, but if you're clean at the end of it, then you should have your powers and just you don't actually need to listen to your patron, although that might be bad for you down the line.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, D&D is so much fun, especially if you have the right group of people. Because I've played games
Yeah,
before
yeah.
where, fuck, it just took forever.
Yeah, that's my problem. I have no money.
Oh, that's fine. You can sign up for D&D Beyond, and I believe it's free.
But,
Player
yeah.
handbook and stuff.
The like very basic rules, which would come in not even the player's handbook, but the starter kit,
Yeah.
Although that is an interesting thing if you had people around you who wanted to play. The starter kit is a ready pre-made adventure that is both fun and like easy to run as a first-time dungeon master.
Yeah.
And if anyone wanted to get into that, that's the thing to do.
Yeah. Like I'm lucky. I pitched in with a couple friends, so we bought everything on D&D Beyond, so I have access to all that. So I can, if I wanted to, while building a character, I could do something from Critical Role, which is pretty nice.
That is an issue.
There's even a Rick and Morty one on there too.
Oh. Speaking of, this is why you buy the books, though.
Yeah, you got some pretty cool stuff. Yeah.
So you get a map of Wildemount.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think you would have fun playing D&D, Ben. I think you would.
Yeah, send me a message on Twitter, and I'll add you to my Discord channel.
Yeah.
I'm planning on starting a D&D game over Discord soon.
Or if not, a one-off would be fun too.
Yeah,
because one-offs are fun.
And
I did a one-off once as a Captain Jack Sparrow type character.
Nice.
Yeah. What was I can't remember what I called him, but I remember it was like Captain Jock. What the fuck was it? It was another bird. I think it was Captain Jock Parakeet or something like that.
I would have gone with something that sounds French. So you could name him Jacques.
Yeah.
Jacques Oiseau.
It's all endless. Like right now, my Centaur Barbarian's named Clyde, short for Clydesdale. Which got a huge groan from my DM.
My Warlock's last name is just the name of his sword, because he's a Hexblade Warlock. So he has a cool magic sword that is bound to him and also bound to his patron. So who knows how that will go down later, but
I created a character which unfortunately was a victim of a TPK in the second session. All our characters died, but I named him A La Noche, which is Spanish for Nightwing, because I made him I made him a rogue.
So, moving off of D&D for a bit, what is the hardest board game you've ever played?
Oh, so far it's The Thing. Hands down.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And have you played any of the Call of Cthulhu games?
Once, a long time ago.
Yeah. Arkham Horror is pretty tough, especially if you get it like first. Yeah.
Like Batman?
It's older than Batman.
Oh.
I believe it is. It might be Arkham Horrors.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Based on around Call of Cthulhu. Okay.
Yeah. But personally, I find that the hardest game ever is this one. Oh no, that was bad. Okay, most of them were empty. But yeah. Pandemic, which perfect time to pull this game out and talk about it. It is possibly the hardest game I've ever played. I think I've won it twice, like in the full group, and like as 4 players, it's so hard that most people win about 30% of the time.
That's pretty much what it's like with The Thing, because the way you start, like the less players you have, the harder it is to win. Because basically you have to start right off the bat with somebody infected. Then you got to clear the first section. You got to make sure every room is secure, and you have the tools you need to get to the next section. When you get in the second section, somebody else becomes infected. Then you got to do it again and make sure like the person who's infected has to try to sabotage what's going on, right? And the whole time you're trying to figure out who is the infected. You get to the third section, one more person becomes infected. But the way you win the game is you have to decide who's going to get on the helicopter by doing another blood test. And if somebody gets on that's infected, you lose the game.
It sounds like a game version Oh, that shooting that news episode we had a few weeks ago about cannibalism.
Almost. Almost. Yeah,
That
no,
was a fun
it's
episode.
that was fucking. We've had some weird ones, but yeah, no. The thing is a fun game, but goddamn, it can be frustrating.
Yeah, and there are so many different types of games that like I've tried to experiment with as many types of board game. Your deck builders, your dice rollers, you have like your resource like management and things like strategy games like Risk. I love Risk.
See, I don't have the patience for Risk or Axis and Allies sort of things. I don't have the patience to sit there for a long time strategizing. I just don't.
And I can play that game forever too. So
I'd rather read about the history. What was
So
that?
you're not good at Monopoly, I'm guessing.
No, I'm fine at Monopoly, but if it goes past like 2 hours, I'm done.
Okay, random question. Random thing Monopoly. Classic version. What are your guys' go-to pieces?
The token? Oh fuck! I gotta think because it's been a long time since I've played. I think last time I
what?
played
It's
Monopoly
the
was on
battleship. If you're not fighting everyone in your house over the battleship, you're playing Monopoly wrong.
I know. I don't know. I think I usually gravitated towards the thimble. I don't know why.
For me, it's a Risk car. On the money
yeah.
bag.
Makes sense. Yeah, I've played a whole bunch of different versions. I've got a version. Kiss. Was it called Kissopoly? So instead of like, well, I didn't buy it. I got it as a thank you gift for house sitting once. But instead of railway stations, it's the 4 Kiss solo albums, and instead of streets, it's every one of their albums.
And
You got another Titanic Monopoly.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
That reminds me. So I don't have it anymore, unfortunately, but I have this board game where you have to survive the sinking of the Titanic, but you have to like do these certain objectives. And I remember I saw it at the craft store, and how old was I? I was like 10, 11, some of that. And I was like, I told my mom I want it. So Christmas came, she gives me this box at our place, and so I open it, and it's the board game. Like, right on. So I open the box, and there's fucking hodgepodge and a brush. It's like, what the fuck? All right. So get to my aunt's house because we had to pick him up to go to my grandma's, and I had another gift. It was the pieces. And then we get to my grandma's. That's when I get the board. I was like, Mom, you're evil.
I love it.
all dope.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. Me and my mom still laugh about that every once in a while.
I will actually say that she's a genius because if she had given you all of the pieces Christmas morning, you wouldn't have wanted to go to grandma's because you would have wanted to play your game and you want mom to play it with you and all of that. So
well, yes, you're partially right, but I was the type of kid where I would bring that to grandma's and I would make them play with me.
Well, here's something for you.
yeah, you do that also.
Yeah.
Back to the Future is my favorite movie, right?
Of course.
They made a Back to the Future Monopoly.
Really?
I want to get it, but here's the thing. For some weird, stupid reason, it's like $100 for that fucking game.
Oh, a lot of those novelty Monopoly games are expensive. I've noticed.
That's the one that stuck out the most to me, for whatever reason.
Yeah, and it's amazing how many like novelty ones they got now. Like they got that one, they got Doctor Who. There's The Simpsons. I've seen a Family Guy one. I've seen Big Bang Theory, Star Wars.
I made my own Buffy the Vampire Slayer one because they don't have it.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
You like that show? No.
Hmm?
And then you like that show?
Yeah, it's his favorite show.
Yeah, oh yeah, I've been watching it since I was like 12 or something, and I've seen it more Maybe not more than How I Met Your Mother, to be fair, because I'll just throw that on to like fall asleep, and it's just like background noise.
I think we found our guest for when we do How I Met Your Mother.
And
Because after we're done Saved by the Bell, we're going to be reviewing the seasons of How I Met Your Mother and the whole.
Oh shit!
And then after we're done the series, we're going to bring on a guest who are just going to gush about the show and whatever. So you're welcome on for How I Met Your Mother when it comes time.
I'm definitely down for that. I literally talk about how those characters represent everybody across all spectrums, and that's a topic for another day, obviously.
You'll like this, Daniel.
But what I was getting into about Buffy was
Recognize
just like watching it for so long, and like I looked it up hoping this game would exist one day, and like then I started looking up prime locations in the show, and there was a perfect way to separate all of the colors, and like every season had its own color, and it had a special location devoted to it. It was like a hero's house, the villain's lair, and a prime location of that season. And
See,
I
They have a
I
Firefly
was very
one, so I'm
proud.
shocked they never did a Buffy one.
I think I saw one. Hold on.
But I'm on the, just for shits and giggles, I'm on the Monopoly website right now, and there's one for sore losers. There, and then you've got Sonic the Hedgehog, Frozen, Stranger Things. There's a pizza one.
There is actually a
They go on
Buffy.
based on Mando. Cool.
There
Really?
is
But that one
actually.
has to protect Baby Yoda.
I'll grab this one back at least. There is actually a Buffy Legendary, which is the same like deck building thing, but the 5 characters and the villain sets are all from Buffy.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Were you guys ever into card games?
Card?
And I'm not talking poker, I'm talking like Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, stuff like that.
No, that one
Actually,
unfortunately skipped. I'm of the age when all that came out, but that one skipped me.
I got my Yu-Gi-Oh cards right here. Actually,
Very nice.
I've got so many.
Okay, there's an ABBA version of Monopoly.
I'm going
There's
to
a what?
ABBA, the band.
Sure.
Yeah, why doesn't that surprise me?
There's an Attack on Titan edition.
Is it on Breaking Bad? There has to be on Breaking Bad.
And yeah, as it relates to
Yep.
like trading card games, I was a little young to hit like the Magic the Gathering scene, and Pokemon was out and semi-competitive, but it didn't make a lot of sense, honestly. Especially when you were 8 to 10 years old, and Yu-Gi-Oh just flowed very well, and it was easy to translate to, like, I have to speak with French kids all the time, so
Oh, yeah.
like we could compare cards or at least have a vague understanding of how they work.
I'm the same way. I never got into Pokemon or Magic, but I did love the first generation, maybe second generation of Yu-Gi-Oh! I had all 5 pieces. I had the Egyptian cards, and I forget what else and I had
This set that I just pulled out, though, it has a Kaiba, a Yugi, and a Joey deck.
oh nice.
And the Joey deck is like a Red Eyes Synchro deck.
Nice.
The Yugi deck is a full Exodia package. I have all 3 Egyptian gods as well. And the
shit.
Kaiba deck has the triple Blue Eyes and the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon and all that.
There's a Fantastic Four Monopoly.
Oh my god, there's only one building that matters. The Baxter building. Get
building,
over
yeah.
it. Make Buffy already.
It's funny, you guys watch Game of Thrones, right?
Every episode.
Okay, when they finally got that ice dragon, I was like, And finally, a live action Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Yeah, it was pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, and I mean, Drogon is a red eyes black dragon. If we're gonna point that out. And yeah, I definitely talked about them in those kind of terms with a bunch of my friends because we're all Yu-Gi-Oh players and Game of Thrones fans.
Nice.
It hurts to say I'm a Game of Thrones fan because those last 2 seasons hurt me.
Oh, you'll be fine, Daniel.
I will be fine if the books ever come out.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I didn't hate the last episode up until probably last season, probably up until the last episode or two.
I have to be honest. I like everything. I'm in the minority, I guess. No,
I like it just fine.
What?
I said I liked the last season just fine. Like there were some great episodes in there, like the one right before the battle at Winterfell.
Yeah.
Where you get to see everybody hanging out and you hear Podrick sing that song, Jenny of Windstones.
Was that on Coffee Cup episode?
Yeah, that's the one where they knight Brienne. Spoilers. Yeah, and even though it felt kind of abrupt, the siege of King's Landing was an amazing, visually amazing episode.
Okay, is that the episode? You're talking about Danny, right? Danny.
Yeah, that's I'm talking about the one where the people from the north come to take King's Landing, and you see the dragons like just destroy everything.
I did have to say, I don't get the people who complain about Danny turning really quick. Because if you look back to season 5 or 1, there were scenes planted.
To be fair, most of those people are probably the more book readers who remember the time where she was ready to kill all 3 of her dragons because a peasant brought probably sheep's bones to her. And like they basically concurred that this farmer like burnt some bones and brought them to her himself, but she was already ready to get rid of the dragons because she definitely knew how dangerous they were. And she is a much more nuanced figure in the books. And I just feel in the last few seasons, they didn't earn some of the things that they got. And
that's one thing I kept hearing.
The one thing I hated was that like Jaime got both storylines, and like it seems like they forgot they wanted one or the other and forgot to like take one out of the script, and they filmed both.
Okay, explain that a little bit because I've never read the books.
Yeah, he gets to leave Cersei and complete his redemption, right?
Yeah, which I liked.
And then he goes up north, and
love that.
He gets with Brienne, who he saved, and she saved him, and it's this like perfect ending. And then it just turns on a dime, and he goes back to Cersei, and he has his perfect ending with her as well. And it's just like, you needed to make a choice with the character. And I probably would have been fine with either if executed well. But giving me both just made me mad.
I actually agree with you on that one. I do feel like his decision to return to Cersei, yes, that is the love of his life. But that one was just like, okay, that's out of nowhere, just based on what they were doing with him at that time. Basically, he's trying to, get away from Cersei and all, like their whole redemption thing. It just kind of felt like an about face.
But yeah, like I could have been. Oh, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say, to me, it made sense for both of them to die together, though.
Yeah, no, it made sense that they got together. It's just when you talk about something feeling rushed, I feel like that whole thing was just, like I said, an abrupt about face. Like they could have used another episode to flesh out the Brienne and Jaime thing.
Or if it happens in the moment and he runs off, like, okay, the zombies are all dead. The thing he left to go do, which was protect the realms of men, that's done. He is an actual hero. But leaving in that moment rather than sleeping with Brienne and going back to Cersei because he cannot heal because he's a terrible person and has been his whole life. And he realizes and accepts that and leaves. That would have been really great because the actor who plays him is phenomenal and could have
Nicola
delivered.
Lost, whatever.
Yeah, Coster Waldo.
Yeah,
But yeah, he was so great as the character and definitely knew the character he was playing was more nuanced than he was on this in the script sometimes.
And it also was a massive disservice to Brienne.
Yeah.
100, totally 100%.
That goes without saying, yes.
I feel bad for that actress because
Oh yeah.
between that and Captain Phasma, come on.
Yeah, but I you know what? It's hard. It's hard with Brianna Tarth because she had a lot of good shit in that run. And like honestly, no joke. My favorite episode is the one where she gets knighted.
Yeah, it's a great episode.
Yeah, great episode because that episode was what we love. A lot of people like me loved about Game of Thrones was the character work, and was a great episode for that.
Okay, let me ask you guys something. Since we're deep diving into this, we might as well go all the way in. Which was your favorite death? Do you have one in that show?
Like, how do you mean, like, favorite? Like, how it was done?
Like, how do you know that which one hit you the most? If that makes sense.
I gotta think about that.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a pretty good answer because it is from the TV show only and the later seasons. I liked the way Littlefinger died.
Me too. That's my favorite.
I needed him to die that way, especially because he rose to such prominence for no reason, just because he was a fast talker and good at taking money out of somebody's hand and putting it into somebody else's before they could pick up a knife, essentially. And I needed him to die on his knees, begging for his life, realizing that none of his respect and gold and fancy clothing was going to get him anywhere.
You know, I'd actually have to agree with you. That probably is my favorite death, just because of that. You know, especially how it's how what's her name turns on him, Sansa. But
yeah, you saw it going into that scene. He was smirking, he was laughing.
Yeah. But I will say the best death, like in terms of spectacle, was the death of Oberyn Martell. That's the one where the mountain literally pushes eyeballs right through his head.
Oh, Mando.
Mando, yeah.
Yeah.
Mando.
Yeah. And
most
Tommen's was out of
emotional.
nowhere. Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, Tommen was crazy.
Yeah, just
I never liked him. He seemed too listen to me. Like, he didn't do anything.
Oh, you know, there is a death that happened off camera that I got really angry about. Not in terms of what that they didn't show it on camera or whatever, but just because of who it was. And it was what's the youngest Lannister daughter's name?
Myrcella.
Myrcella, her death.
She dies on camera.
Does she die on camera? I thought it was off.
Yeah, she was poisoned on the boat as they're sailing away.
But it's when Jaime finds out.
That's actually fully kind of how it happens in the books.
Okay.
They do that at some point to her.
I don't know why I thought it was off camera, but it's when Jaime finds out she's dead. That's what tore me apart.
Yeah, when he wasn't there and didn't know and.
Didn't he die in his arms?
Yes. She really did.
Okay, I've only seen every episode once, so bear with me.
That's actually very true.
And
yeah, she In the books, that scene is a little bit different.
Uh,
I might be thinking of a wrong thing about her being poisoned, though. I
No, that sounds about
that
right.
that was on the TV show, but on the book, in the book, she has a conversation with Jamie on as she's sailing off, and she basically tells him before he can tell her that he's her dad.
Yeah.
they did that. They did that on the show.
Yeah,
So okay.
She told
and
him
then
that, and then
So here's how she dies. Her marriage to Tristan never happens, and she is poisoned by Ilaria and the Sand Snakes just before she leaves Dorne with Jamie and Bronn. As she is sailing away towards King's Landing, she dies in Jamie's arms moments after acknowledging him as her father.
yeah.
yeah, and she does that before sailing off to Dorne, and then she actually has an adventure in Dorne for a little while. There's a lot more Dorne in the books, which
Yeah, I did hear that. A lot of people were pretty pissed at the whole Dorne thing.
yeah. Doran seems a lot more sinister and emperor-like in the book, and he just seemed kind of lame. And there are like 4 other sand snakes or children of Doran who don't even exist in the TV show.
You know,
So-
you know who died like a badass is the Tyrell grandmother.
Oh, 100%. She was awesome. And actually, she recently passed away this year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I'm on the Marcella Baratheon Wikipedia page, and in like the references and notes, it's got this little like appendix thing. At least one writer opines that Marcella's relationship with Jamie abruptly failed, like so many other matchups in the television series, was because of a lack of good writing. Others say that in Game of Thrones, Marcella's loving relationship, like many others, seemed doomed to fall victim to political grudges of other characters. Yeah.
To be fair, in the book, she takes an axe to the face, and she doesn't die. It disfigures her face, and everyone in Dorne is tripping out because they can't send her back to Queen Cersei with a disfigured face, and it's a whole
No
fun
kidding.
fun romp.
I forget in the show. How did the queen from Dorne die? How did she get payback?
Fuck.
Uh,
This is Ilaria Sand, right? We're talking about the one that actually poisoned.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
to the
Wikipedia
Dornish
page.
woman, she chains them both in the cellar, and she feeds a poison to Ilaria's daughter and makes her watch her daughter's body rot forever.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and it says here she kisses her daughter using the same poison that Ilaria used to murder Marcella.
Oh, I thought it was actually a different one.
No, this is from this TV, and then she tells
Oh,
Ilaria
yeah.
that she will be watching Tyene die, and after Tyene's death, she'll be kept alive to watch as her daughter's body rots away. Holy shit, that is horrible.
It is one of the craziest things.
So I'm perfectly fine with Cersei and Jamie dying in each other's arms, but god damn, I wish to God she had gotten what was coming to her.
Yeah. Well, she kind of did. All her children died.
I do have to push back on that. That is a thing that wasn't even in the show, but it's Cersei's perfect prophecy.
Elaborate.
Cersei visits a witch in her childhood who tells her her future and
Didn't they do that in
about
the show?
some of it.
Okay.
And basically, in the show, they say that she won't marry the prince. She's gonna marry the king, which means she won't marry Rhaegar. She'll marry Robert.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says you'll have 3 children, gold of hair, and those are 3 of Jaime's children, which is why her whole pregnancy thing either had to be fake or the creators not realizing she was only ever supposed to have 3.
I'd go with
And
the
then,
latter.
and then it says like she will be queen and she will like become too vain, and then another queen, younger and more beautiful, will take her place. And it mentions that all 3 of her children will die before her, and as as the taste of her children's death, like ash in her mouth, her kingdom will crumble around her. Is essentially like she's gonna choke on smoke and die after all her children do.
So
And
basically,
that's
they did it right in the
Yeah.
show, is what you're saying.
quite exactly how it happens.
Holy, okay, now I take that back. Because
yeah.
man, she deserves. Fuck.
And
Like, she
actually, I
deserved
believe it says that she'll watch her kingdom crumble to dust. But it's kind of what happens
Yeah, the thing
anyway.
collapsed on her.
Yeah.
And now, what did you think of the controversial decision to make Bran the king?
I wish there was more put into it. Listen, I have a theory. There's a dude stuck beyond the wall. He's also a Targaryen. Targaryens, they want that throne.
Yeah.
Just let's put that bluntly. Bloodraven was not allowed the throne. He was denied it, and he was forced to take the black, and then he quit the Night's Watch and went beyond and became like the Greenseer.
Yep.
He's now bound to a tree that is keeping his super, super old body. He's like 170 something, easy. He is trying to warg into Bran. And there is, in the books, there's a small chapter of a warg, like the Starks, but he's one of the wildlings, who, when he dies, he goes into his bear. And then there's another one that goes into an eagle at one point. And then he was... Oh, no, he was in the eagle when it was shot with a flaming arrow, and he felt all of that shit.
Oof.
Yeah. It's the books are brutal, too.
I hear you. I actually
And
did
then-
try to read the first one, and I actually
Yeah.
enjoyed it, but I never went back and finished.
And yeah, so the Targaryen who is stuck beyond the wall, who is denied his throne, he's kind of a... What's the English king that had a bunch of bastard children, legitimized them all on his deathbed? I cannot remember.
I don't think I've ever
But
heard that.
but this guy is based on him, and he basically had the same thing. He had bastards from all over the place and legitimized them all. He's the king behind the Blackfire rebellions because one of the kids was Blackfire, the original. And then the issue is this other guy never got to be. He got to be Hand of the King, but not King. And I thought he was trying to steal Bran's body so that he could go down and become the king. And if they put just a tiny little bit of that into the show, I would have been super happy with who they made king.
Honestly, I think that final season could have done with another episode or two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I liked it, but it does have problems, I'm not going to
Of
lie.
course.
And
I was still hooked when I watched it.
Yeah, it was very well executed. I just felt like they were moving characters into set pieces so that they can tie up loose ends.
Yeah, that's really what it was.
instead
It was just
of
all
like
convenience.
whereas the number of seasons I would go like up to 6, and like the story is flowing around everybody and it's not coming to a close. It's being left open-ended. And I felt there should have been a little more of that in the final season, especially.
I have to be honest here. My favorite episode of the whole show is in season 6. Battle of Bastards.
That was my favorite for a long time.
That is executed beautifully.
That's a fucking death that we forgot to mention. Of
Ramsey. Holy
Ramsey.
shit, that-
Ramsey's death was horrific.
Oh my god, how could we forget that?
Totally
one?
deserving, but god damn, that
Yeah.
was sadistic.
The most heartbreaking one for me had to be Ygritte because
Oh, that's another heartbreaking one. Yeah.
because she dies on camera.
Yeah.
It's just even more tragic in the books because she is just found in the bodies after the battle. And so John doesn't know who killed her. Did he shoot her down?
Oh, sorry.
There
This
were
is
a bunch of wildlings attacked and a bunch of Night's Watch defended, and Ygritte's body was found after the fight.
Wow. That is pretty bad.
Let me ask you guys something. Is it me or does it feel like Game of Thrones schedule in pop culture is not talked about anymore?
Yeah, I think just because the final season left such a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, and that's all we talked about for like a decade.
Yeah.
Don't
Also-
worry though. I think it'll come back.
Head on
Okay.
over to Ken Knapsack's channel somewhere,
Casterly Talk.
and they're like, they did Casterly Talk on Collider, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But
Yeah.
they did it while it was airing, and they're rewatching everything and doing a new Casterly
I
Talk
haven't done the
now.
rewatch, but I definitely listened when they were doing the final season. It was really good. Okay, so who's everyone's favorite Game of Thrones character? I'll go first. Samuel Tarly.
No.
Because A, he's great comic relief. B, finally, a fat guy who's the main character. And who gets the girl?
I loved it. I loved it in the joke. Well, not his joke. But I love his suggestion in the finale. When we made this a democracy.
Yeah.
And everybody,
I remember that.
But okay, I'll be honest, my favorite character? Oh yeah. Because basically, he's Batman.
Yeah. I honestly didn't mind the stuff where she the faceless.
I
Is
love
that what they were called?
the
Yeah.
man with no name. The man with no name.
The man with no name. Yeah.
Yeah, the man with no name was the guy who trains her. It's
Yeah.
the House of the Faceless Men,
Mhm.
and also possibly the what's it called? The many-faced god
Mhm.
that is the antithesis to Melisandre's god R'hllor.
Yeah. Okay.
My favorite character, I'll give a special shout out to Mando himself, Pedro Pascal's
Yeah.
Oberyn.
That was a good character.
That character is so cool, and the fact that you knew without even any words truly exchanged, you knew how deadly Oberyn was, and therefore how much even more imposing the mountain was at that point. And my favorite character is Daenerys. I've got a Targaryen banner somewhere or other.
And that explains your name on Twitter.
Yeah.
I'd actually like to give a special shout out to the Hound as well. I liked his character development. When he finally found peace and he was with what's his nuts, Ian McShane's character.
Beric
That was another
Dondarrion.
death that kind of pissed me off. I wish he still was around a little longer.
Oh, no, he lived long enough.
Oh yeah, 1 or 2 episodes, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I liked his character enough that I felt bad for the Hound when he passed away.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Ian McShane's character.
Yeah.
And
Oh
I'm
yeah.
like-
Yeah. I wish he'd stuck around for like another episode or 2.
He lived like 12 lives. He's good.
True.
Another one of my favorite characters is Tillman. I love that guy. I love the little fighters when they're about to attack him. You have blue eyes! I always have blue eyes!
Yeah.
Or let's not forget Pod
Yeah,
with
Patrick.
the well-endowed Pod, and Hot Pie.
Should I say my favorite character? Oh no, my least favorite character in Game of Thrones. Oh
Sure.
my god, I hate this kid so much. You've never met him. His name's Quentin Martell. He's the son of Doran and another Prince of Dorne. himself, he decides he's going to go to Meereen and offer his hand in marriage to the Dragon Queen Daenerys. And when she's busy, he pines after her for weeks and weeks, constantly like trying to like going to court and hoping that he'll be able to put out his plea again. And as a nobleman, she has to accept him at some point, and he just constantly proposes. And then after that, she tells him essentially if he can make her dragons calm down, because again, she was worried about the destructive capabilities of her dragons. She chained them all up and stuck them in a pyramid, except for Drogon, who busted loose and flew off into the mountains somewhere. And she like tells him if he can calm the dragons down, and if he can ride one, he's worthy of being her husband, because the Dornish do have a little bit of Targaryen blood, and he was trying to play that up and saying that like Ilaria made such a good wife for Rhaegar Targaryen for that fact, because she was Dornish and they are part Targaryen way back. He walks into the dragon pit and tries to tame a dragon, and he gets roasted on the spot and just like cooks into his armor. And that's the end of Quentin Martell, and I was so satisfied because I hated him.
Well, it makes me glad he's not within the thing. I do also, in terms of death, I was also really upset when they killed Sam and John's friends from the Night's Watch.
Although like he's potentially in the last episode. Because there is because everybody kills or everybody in the council is from the 7 regions of Westeros, the 7 kingdoms, except there is a random Prince of Dorne, even though on screen we watched all of them die.
That's true. Yeah, that's right.
Cersei made it a mission to make sure that no Martells existed anymore, and she succeeded. And then there's a Prince of Dorne.
That's right. I do remember that. Yeah, that was an interesting council.
I really enjoyed the Dornish like chapters of the books, and like it's a cool little desert climate place way down south, and they had cool tactics for hiding from the dragons when they came to conquer originally, where they built a bunch of underground facilities, and since they live in sand, there was nothing to burn. And so they just, like, whenever the dragons would pass by, they'd all go to ground, and they'd hang out there for a couple of months and feast on their stored olives and shit.
Yeah, I've always heard the Dorne stuff was some of the best in the books.
Yeah, it was really fun, really political.
Some things have to be cut for time. And speaking of time, we've come to the end of the episode.
No segue.
It just came naturally. So Daniel, man, thanks for joining us. This was a fun Game of Thrones talk. It's been a while since I've talked about it.
Yeah, me too. This was great.
Yeah. So we're
lastly, just to circle back, I should point out that there are a plethora of Game of Thrones board games, including a Game of Thrones Clue and a very more kind of the middle of Catan and Risk.
Ooh.
And so it's a very complicated game with a lot of moving parts, but once you learn it, it actually plays rather quickly within like an hour and 20 minutes.
Nice, because Catan is a very fun game.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, for a game about building roads. Anyways, Daniel, where can everybody find you?
Yeah, I can be found on Twitter at Avengers_SOTN, as you can see at the bottom, and over on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, the Schmoes of the North. We cover on Schmoedown Night in Canada. We talk random movie trivia Schmoedown matches of the week and such, and on Northern Consultations, we sit down with a competitor or person adjacent to the show in some way and just talk to them about their legacy usually, and then just film in general and try to get to know them a little more personally.
Yeah.
Kind of like this, but we badger people who are a lot busier.
Yeah, or they answer to somebody's cat calling.
Yes, yes. Speaking of, we have out now an interview with Jeff Snyder that everybody here should go check out. It was so much fun, and you'll learn a lot of new things about Snyder that you
and not just that. I'm pretty sure we were the first people he talked to about what happened to Spectacular.
Maybe.
I watched that, by the way. Your interview was great, guys.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a lot of fun, and all it took was just Daniel going after him. I was like, okay, that sounds about the right tactic for Snyder. Ben, where can everybody find you?
You can find me right there on my Twitter at Ben2. You can find me every Thursday on Shooting the Breeze and Matt here. Every Saturday on Recapping the Past. Every Sunday on Get Shredded with Jordan, Soul, Baby Change of Geek and Matt here. And every Saturday too on my Small Out show, Matt Small Out.
So I have nothing else to plug because the other two did all my stuff. So you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at soda_the_sax man. Because
get on that comic podcast already.
That's on Dave. That is all on Dave.
Oh yeah,
that's probably my last
Blame
podcast.
The guy who has no free time.
Okay, I know. Well, also he's with his whole moving and his internet being shitty and
stuff. Getting married.
Things gonna happen in the new year finally. But anyways, yeah, don't forget like, subscribe this channel, subscribe Schmoes of the North, and subscribe Mount Schmoedown. These are all great channels, great people, all involved, all over. And like I tried to say, this comes out on Christmas Eve, so Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Happy Hanukkah to people like Ben and our friend 50 Shades of Geek and all that jazz. And I hope everyone has a safe and jolly Christmas, and we will see you next week. And folks, smash cancer. I remembered.